Okay, hi guys. Feel refreshed after all that food? The food was nice, eh? Yeah, it was good. So who's had a chance to download those, that repository, do the git clone? Who hasn't? Okay. So I know some of you guys have tried it, and have got the Docker Compose installed on your machine, and you've actually been able to run this. What I would like to do is just show you the tool running here, and show you places where you can go and where to look for some of the API calls, and so to get you a real sense. But feel free to do it at the same time I'm doing it. So that you can try it out and you can ask questions. So a more interactive session, I think, makes sense. But if you haven't done that, it's also right. You can just follow along, and then hopefully when we get to when you get to those critical moments, you will have a better understanding of what to expect. So, just a quick recap. The requirements that you need on your machine is going to be git, so that you can run this command here called git clone. Can you see that? Let me zoom in a bit. Hold on. So the git clone, what that does is it pulls the information from the online repository and puts it on your local machine, and then it'll create the code in this folder called PASP TTK sandbox. So you need to then change into that directory, and then you need to call Docker Compose up. And when you run the Docker Compose up, what it's going to do is it's going to go and pull the Docker images from the online repositories, and so that they're locally, and then it's going to wire them up. So there's more than one component that we're installing here, and it connects them up, and it sets those ports so that they can talk to each other, and then it also sets the ingress and egress ports which you will be interacting with through your application. So the Docker Compose up really does all of that. Oh, that's not working. Okay. Okay, so then so after that's been completed, then you've got 2 ports that you can interact with, and both of them are at the moment they're TTK simulated, or TTK. We've got the sender. Let me just scroll up a bit to the diagram. So we've got this sender TTK, which is going to act like your software. So you're going to be building your software to replace the calls on the TTK, and then customize it so that it's relevant to your software and what you're doing. But effectively, the flavor of those API calls is going to be exactly the same as what's being sent from the sender TTK. So the way we configure that sender TTK is that you then upload a test set, and then you can execute those test sets. Those are in fact the same API calls that you will be making from your software. Then the receiver TTK, and the ports matter here. Okay, we've got 6060 is the receiver TTK, which is simulating the third-party SDK scheme adapter and module loop and the payer and the payee. So So this whole mechanism is being simulated by this receiver TTK, the third-party scheme adapter, module loop, payer, and payee DFSP. And that's on host 6060. So 6060 is the IP local host 6060 is going to be your IP address to have view of that TTK. That's the receiver, and then the one with the one in between, the 16060, is going to be the sender, which is the one when you have your final delivery of your product you won't need, because you'll be replacing it with your own software. So let me show you what those two look like. So for starters, I'm going to show you my Docker Compose. So after you've run Docker Compose up, you don't need the UI, but you can go to the UI and you can have a look, and you will see that your Docker is running. So if you've been playing with other TTK downloads, you can't run them at the same time because they're all configured using the same ports. So you're going to get some port conflict. So you might have to turn them off before you put this on. But essentially what we need is the PISP TTK sandbox running on its own in Docker Compose. And once that is running, then, sorry, I have been playing. So these are the two endpoints. If you have a look carefully at that IP address, this is the 6060. This is the receiver TTK, because it's 6060, and it's simulating it. So at the moment, we're just using it to monitor the API calls coming in. So when we do call it from our software or from the test of the sender kit, we can see the API messages come in, and we can see the responses just to check and understand what's going on. So that's on this TTK. I've now clicked on the monitoring so that I can view the monitoring of it. And then on the sender side, which is the 16060, so this is localhost 16060. I have also then loaded the test runner. If you follow the README document, it shows you how to load up the test runner, and then it gives you these two. When I said test runner, it's a test. It's a library of test cases that you load, and then you should have the same view as what I've got now. So there's two main sections here. We've got linking and transfers, and those are the two key pieces that need to happen for PISP integration. You got to link your accounts to build up the trust, and then you got to actually perform the transfer. So the easier one to follow along is the transfer, because there's only 3 elements to it, and whereas the linking one is more around admin on how you build up that trust, and you set up the trust and get the linking of those accounts in place. So what I'm going to do, so there's a couple of ways to run this. The first one is you can just hit run, and then it runs each of the transfers, so you can see the information coming through, and it's first doing the account linking and then running the transfers. If I then jump over to the monitoring screen, I can see the corresponding API calls being received. So so in the beginning we do the account linking, and then this third-party lookup is the first API call for the transfers. Yes, we have some questions. Sorry. Yeah.
It's not really a question. I just want to follow up with what you're doing on that dashboard, but you're moving too fast. I don't know which screen you're on. Like, where do I click when I reach the dashboard? to do what you're doing.
Oh, okay. I see from this view, it's not very visible. Okay, let me zoom in a bit. Okay. I'll rewind a bit. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to, that's one way to run it. We can run all of them, but then you've got to look at all of them. And I think to help this description a little bit better, what I'm going to do is I'm going to not do that. I'm going to run them one at a time. So if I go to this test set, the transfers test set, and I click edit, then this opens up an interactive view of the SQL statements. So the way it works is, let me just scroll to the top. This is how TTK works. It basically is set up to have a sequence of asynchronous, in fact in this case they're synchronous queries, and it passes information from the next to the next so that it keeps the integrity of that transfer. So this is the first one that gets called, which is the third-party transactions party lookup. And then the second one will initiate, it's a post. That should be, okay, it says post, but it's not. It's a, oh, no, I think it is a post, yeah. So there's a post third parties lookup, and then we do a post third parties to initiate the transfer, and then finally we do a post to approve those transfers. So those are the three queries that you need to perform in order to be able to do a transfer. Because I've just executed, okay, so let me run through it again. That's empty, and then here I can just send these three transfers through. Then what happens is it populates the response element of that transfer. So if you go and have a look at the request, it'll show you the exact body of the request of what it sent. And then if you go to the response, you will see the exact response that you got as a response of that particular query. And if we then go to the monitoring view, we'll see that that post get parties lookup will look exactly the same. So if we have a look at the request object, so this is what you need to build up in your code. This is the body. It's following a JSON format, and there's normally a lot of libraries that allow you to. In fact, it's in the body. That's your JSON format. The rest of it is actually the API call. So here it's got the header information and the sort of requirements that merge loop require you to have in the header. So all of that's included here. And then the body is also available. So in the body here, we are providing the payee information. So we have a type of payee lookup, which at the moment is the MSISDN number, and we've got a telephone number. So, and that is the person that you want to pay. So in this get parties request, that's really the critical piece of information that needs to come from your software. And then you make that API call, and then you get this response back. And if we have a look at the response, it looks like this. The body of the response says party lookup success. In other words, we found the person. and then it's got the party information there. And the party has got the same ISDN and lookup ID, and also which organization you're now talking to. But then it's also got the personal information. So it's got the name of the person and the complex name of the person and the date of birth. So there's a certain amount of personal information that you can then pass on to your users to validate that this is in fact the right account that you're paying money into. Okay, so that's the first call, which is the party lookup. The second one is to initiate the transfer, which is similar. It's got the similar set of data. I don't want to. Are there any questions?
Okay, for me, mine is not a question, but I'm just wondering what you do next after cloning. Because for me, that's where I got lost from.
What you after cloning?
After cloning.
Have you got Docker Compose installed on your PC?
Yes.
You need to change into that folder. So do through the command prompt, do cd into the PISP TTK sandbox. And then you run a command docker compose up. It's in the README. So let me show you on that. So the directions are here on the README. So cd PISP TTK sandbox. That will so you need to run docker compose inside the folder that you've just downloaded. And then you run the command docker compose up. Docker-compose space up.
And we can't get there. We've been clicking through all this. The transfer page.
So this is the 6060. So this is your receiver. If you go to monitoring. There.
Yeah.
It's just a bit slow. Okay. And then if you go to this one. I can see that. So the other one is it's the port number is slightly different. So there are two TTKs. Yeah. So you were connected to the receiver one. You need to connect to the sender one, and then you need to, if you follow the directions, it tells you to upload the test set. In fact, I'll show you how to do that now. I didn't actually show you this because I had done it before, which is maybe not fair. But so to get to the sender, it's localhost 16060. Localhost 16060, not the localhost 6060. The 16060 is the sender, and then you need to go to test runner. Test runner tab, and then you go to collection manager, and you need to import a file. And then you need to browse to inside the folder into the PISP TTK sandbox. There's a subfolder called test cases. You need to go there and then select the third-party JSON object. And then once it's here, you've still got to tick it. It's just the way TTK works. You need to, it allows you to select which tests you want to work with at the time after you've loaded a test collection. Is anybody else struggling or got stuck? Okay. Yeah, that's it. So, are you running Windows? Then scroll up. There was a download for Windows. Okay. You don't need to. You don't need to install anything. If you just yeah. You at the emergency testing toolkit. I think what's more useful is the PSP sandbox. So. So what the PSP sandbox does is it's installing more than one version of TTK. So, here you go. So where's the I'm thinking GitHub. Okay, everyone. We're going to move on to the next session now, but thanks for all your time and effort. And most of you, I think, are up and running, which is great. It's really good. Well done. I did have a detailed sequence diagram for the PASP to show you, but I think it's too much for today. I think it's just dealing with what we've got is enough, but just to let you know there's more. And in the meantime, we'll try and sort out the few people who didn't manage to get the Docker Compose to run, and we'll work out how to solve that. In the meantime, I'm going to hand over to the next person.
Thank you so much, Paul. You really had 2 hours, and like he has said, some of you were successful. So let us give him a round of applause. Okay, so our mentor is already here, but Cleopatra has to show you prototyping tools. So I'm going to request you, Cleo, to come and take us through for 15 minutes so that we can have the mentorship session.
Hello. Hi. How are you? I missed you the whole day. Hey. Wow. How are you doing? How is it going? You're very quiet. Is it the Saturday? Is it the diagrams? Both. The what? It will be well. It will be okay. So, because I have very limited time for the presentation, we are going to have a very interactive session. I'll share the slides so that you can refer to them as you're prototyping, right? Yes. So, who knows what prototyping is? I also have a gorilla in my hand here for someone.
All right. According to me, prototyping is a process of coming up with a miniature format of the original system. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What is miniature? You've lost me there.
All right. It's like something that resembles the way the system is going to be, the exact system is going to be. Okay, something small. It's not really big as the original product, but it just illustrates.
Thank you so much. Yes, happy. I'm happy to see you.
So prototyping is making a working model of a system. It's not the exact thing, but you just create, as you said, miniature, small version. It's a working model.
Okay. Prototyping is the process of coming up with a replica of the system to test like its usability, its feasibility, and other features.
You people are on fire. I'm loving this. So am I.
To me, prototyping is the process of transforming the ideas from the design to something tangible that can be implemented. Thank you.
Amazing. All of you have correct answers. Anybody else? Hey, Sonita. My competition.
Prototyping is like creating a preliminary version of a system.
Amazing.
Prototyping is the process of coming up with an instance of the final system.
Charlotte, aren't I done? These guys have ideas already about what prototyping is. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
prototyping is like a process of creating a simplified product of the original product.
Thank you. So, okay, one more. Chalagata. Hi.
Like my colleagues have said it all, prototyping is just basically translating a user flow of information into a design that a designer, a developer can easily translate into code so that they can write it down.
Thank you so much. The user flow, right? So, who's designing a mobile application? Yes. What is the process that you're going through? If we're looking at the UI UX process. Yes. Are you guys just thinking about it and you have a web builder or something, and then you're like, let's just start with maybe the front page, and then you're like, let's do this. You're like brainstorming by word of mouth, like a verbal session. How are you doing?
We had to first get the screens done with Figma. Then we started developing the screen by screen. We brainstorm, we see any necessity, like any missing screen, we put that, then we develop it.
Okay.
On our part, I think for us what we first did is we first had to think about ourselves, because we know in mobile application development you require a splash screen, which is like the screen that welcomes the user. Maybe you have your logo and whatever, and then we have that landing page that a user can come and maybe interact maybe with the services that we are offering, maybe by purchasing or what. However, they also need maybe to log in or log out in order to track their information. So that's our prototype so far.
Thank you.
Okay, at first, of course, you look at the flow of the system. Then we looked at the colors, because different colors mean different things. After getting the flow, that we shall first log in, do this, do this, do this. Then we looked at the colors. Then we looked at where will this go? How will this, okay, where will this go? What will come first, like that.
I think for us, we first drew the interfaces on paper before we transform them to Figma, because it simplifies your work when you have already something sketched on paper.
The answer I was looking for, right? How do you start? Start by sketching it out. And what do we call that in prototyping? That model that you have on Sketch? Anybody? A wireframe, right? You guys are going to sail through this stage, right? Who doesn't know what a wireframe is? It is okay not to know. I also don't know. Who knows? Or who doesn't know? Okay, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? He has already said it. Yes. What's a wireframe? What is it? What I presented?
According to me, a wireframe is just merely a low fidelity interface. Yeah.
Cool. Can we sketch one? Who is willing to sketch a wireframe for their proposed system right now? And we show everybody else what it should look like. 2 minutes. Okay. I'm looking at Diana. Diana is sketching. Anybody else? Hi, Jasmine. Hi, Jasmine. Hi, Jasmine. So right now you're using pen and paper, okay? Chop, chop. 2 minutes. The splash screen, like Ivan said, Or if you have a website, the landing page or the home page. Yes. Okay. Somebody has it. No. Just one. One simple interface. Yeah. Who wrote here? Okay. Simple shapes for illustration, for the buttons, where the images are going to go, where the text is going to go, the sections. Okay? Nice. Sorry? Okay. Mm-hmm. Cool. Nice. Where? Hands up. Hands up. Okay. Nice. Who else? Mhm. Okay. Yeah. So you guys have an idea, right? So it's a low fidelity prototype. Okay? It's a low fidelity prototype. After the wireframe, what do we have next? Sorry? High fidelity? Is there anything in the middle? What? Where's the fire? Anybody?
Personally, I think after drawing these wireframes, then you have to meet your clients and you show them actually, they verify whether what you think or what you've interpreted is exactly what they also feel they want.
Okay. So when you're done with the wireframe, you do what we call a mock-up. The mock-up is the one that's in between the lo-fi, which is the wireframe, and the hi-fi, right? Which is the prototype. So for the mock-up, you now start designing, following what you sketched. You put what we call the aesthetics, the feel, the colors, okay, the images, dummy text, lorem ipsum. You should be familiar with those passages, right? John Doe, eh? Jane Doe. Yeah, so that is the mock-up. And I expect to see this on Monday. We're going to have a second session for prototyping and solution design, okay? So you should take screenshots. You're like, this is where we started from. These were the wireframes, and these were the mock-ups. And then from the mock-ups, we go to, after the mock-up, we go to the system. Come again. Say it. Why are you afraid? The English is not Englishing? Yes? The prototype. Good. Okay? That one comes after the high fidelity. Okay? Yeah. So we have the high level prototype, which you can simply call a prototype. Okay? And this prototype should have interactivity in the different screens. Okay? It's something that we're actually going to come to you and we're like, demo. We want to see this button takes us to maybe the About Us page, or maybe it's a donate button, it goes to this page, ABCD. So it has to be a working prototype. Okay? I'll talk about the MVP later. But you first have to make sure you have all these in place. So considerations as you're coming up with these diagrams is the user-centered design. You're designing a solution for a target group. It's not about you, right? Yes, you have to take into consideration what that last mile person requires from the system. Always look at ease of use. Nobody wants to interact with a system that is hard to understand. even for developers. If you look at a dashboard that is too hard for people who are into Forex, how many of you look at like Forex dashboards? See how you see all those graphs going up and down, you like get there and you're like, oh my God, what is happening? You don't understand the terms that are there, okay? So it's kind of hard, even for developers at some point, to understand systems that are designed by other developers, okay? So make it as easy as possible to use for the last mile person, right? Yeah. So I think that should be it. The rest you're going to read. Wait, don't just me. Let me check. Yeah. So also the level 1 principles, okay? When you're designing your system, you have to take them into consideration. Following the diagrams that Simon took you through in the morning, okay? You had the customer journey, and then you had all these other things so when you're designing, it has to be a wholesome approach. I know it could be kind of a lot, but look at 2-3 principles that you should incorporate. Don't forget the level 1 principles, okay? Who can mention 2 real quick? I give them a gorilla and air one.
When you're designing a level 1 project, all transactions that have already been made should not be revocable.
And air gorilla for her. Okay. Oh.
Consider interoperability.
Okay. And air one for you.
Push payments and safety.
And air one for you too. This side. Financial education. Things are not thinking.
Adherence to well-defined standards.
What standards? It's okay. You'll read. One more. Lady in white.
Affordability.
Okay, so keep all these in mind. So if your wireframes, the mock-ups and prototypes are good, then in the MVP that I'll talk about in the next session, probably on Tuesday, you'll have to do what Paul has been taking you through. Very important. If you fail to do that, then you're definitely going to lose out on the ranking, okay, for the prize money. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Cleopatra. Once again, let us appreciate Cleopatra. And now we have our mentor. She's called Marion Chirabo. She's going to tell you more about herself. She's going to take us through some legal stuff. Now we are CEOs, we are founders. What do we need? What do you need to register your company? You have a wallet, a digital wallet. What do you need from the Bank of Uganda? You have a lending product. What license do you need? She's going to tell us all this, so let us welcome her. Please, Marion. Please, when we are saying something, asking a question, answering, let us try to stand up. Yes. And also, whenever Marion is coming to you, she's going to come with 2 microphones so that you can use a microphone so they can get your voice.
Hi everyone. My name is Marion and I wish I could get to know everyone here, but you're quite many. I am a lawyer and I work with Matrix Advocates as a legal associate. And our firm basically deals with so many dimensions of the law: intellectual property, business, commercial and corporate transactions, civil litigation, everything. Basically, it's a wide spectrum. But today, I'm going to talk to, I can see there are very many intelligent people in here. I'm going to talk to you about how you can have a legal business in Uganda. I don't have gorillas to give out, but I'll try to engage you. Yeah, so before we go further, I would like to know how many people here have started a business before. Okay. I'm dealing with rich people. So I'm going to ask one of the people who have put up their hands to volunteer and tell us their experience while they were starting their business. I don't know if it's a business or a company. A business. Yeah, let's start with you.
I'm supposed to talk about my experience?
Yeah, your experience.
Okay.
Can start with your name because I don't know any of you.
My name is Sunita Namujumbi Sharifa. Okay. I had a jewelry business. Yeah, I used to ship from China. Yeah. My experience, I'm trying to think of it in a legal way because I didn't register. It was just an online business with a couple of friends. You reach out to us, like Instagram, then you take our WhatsApp number, you send us what you want, then we deliver it. Yeah, at your cost, then you pay us using mobile money, or we had a trusted border guy who would bring the money, yes.
What was the name of your business?
Jewelry Box.
Jewelry Box. Thank you. Any other person who has a business? Was it registered? Introduce yourself and tell us.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Jennifer Nana is my name. I have a business called Jenny Pumpkin Nutrition.
Pardon?
I have a business called Jenny Pumpkin Nutrition. Jenny Pumpkin Nutrition.
Jenny Pumpkin.
Pumpkin Nutrition.
Pumpkin Nutrition.
Yes.
Okay, that's nice.
So, the challenge I faced before the registration with URSB, it was really hard for me to come out with a name. I tried several names. They could tell me this one had been taken. You have to think. In fact, my heart was pumping almost 3 nights. I couldn't sleep, but I've already even paid the money. The guy from URSB could say, you keep thinking, go and lock yourself in the house and then come back tomorrow with the name. Within me, I was tired and I'm like, if this name failed to go through, I'm done with this. I would not mind about the money I paid. So in the morning, he sent me an email that your name had been successfully registered. And I started using the name. Again, the challenge came on branding. So they told me you cannot have a company name on top of your branded products. It has to be down. I've already printed stickers. So I had to first allow myself to sell the few products that already printed stickers. Then I had to change. So up to now, I'm still going into different stages of branding. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jenny. You said your name was Sharifa? Yeah. It's the one? Is it the one? Yes. Thank you, Jenny and Sharifa. They have given us 2 different scenarios where they faced, well, I don't think Sharifa faced a lot of challenges, but we shall talk about the dangers where Sharifa can continue to carry on her business when it's not registered. How do I open this? It's fine. No, oh, that. No, it's not the one that's connected. Oh, the remote. So I'm going to talk about business registration and intellectual property regulations in Uganda. But before I embark on this, I want to ask another question. How many of you people have heard about alien skin? Why are you laughing? So the man has made it a point to become news, right? But as of this week, I don't know if you guys follow news properly, he made a video saying that a law firm had woken up to register his label, which is called Fangone Entertainment, Fangone Forest Entertainment. Now, imagine you are functioning in a society, you're famous, people like you, people are coming to your business, then someone else wakes up and registered your business. How would you feel? I want answers. I don't know if the person putting up their hand is trying to defend alien skin, but okay. It's okay.
Not really, but in case it was me, and that happened, then I would really feel so sad and bad. Yeah.
Anyone else? Yes. Jenny Pumpkin, right? How would you feel if someone woke up and had Jenny Pumpkin right across your street where you are processing for?
I think for me, the only thing is to start a legal case against that person.
Okay. Jenny is ready to fight. Yes?
I would definitely be very sad because this is a brand I would have built, put a lot of energy into, so it would definitely be a disappointment for me. Just someone waking up in the morning and taking something I've built for quite a while. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Those are very nice answers, yes.
So also to my perspective, I could feel sad, but as we say that everyone has his or her own luck. So you just persist, and then you look forward to doing the best from him. So if he's selling pumpkins, I make sure that I get those quality. I don't even imagine what I could do.
Competition. Uh-huh.
Thank you so much. I think to me, that one can work when you have a different name, but we are doing the same products. It will work, I will agree with you 100%. But you can't use the same name as I've been using. No, it doesn't work.
Okay, thank you. It's okay. Yeah, so your answers are very interesting. But in the law world, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't mean that if you function, if Jenny had not registered her company and someone else started the same company with Jenny pumpkin products, you realize Jenny would be working illegally because the other person now has the rights to use the name. So these are the things we are going to be talking about. The competition. The competition would work if you get a different brand. Otherwise, you'd have to pay the person what they call royalties because you're using their same brand. So all this educating you about registering your business and being able to own this thing that you've started is to help you from such circumstances and events. So I'm going to take you through the benefits, the legislation are the laws, don't worry, there's no hard language. I'm going to try not to use any hard language. Yeah, I'm going to take you through the laws, the benefits, what it actually requires for you to register your business. And not just your business, but even if you want a company, it's possible. So, we'll start with that legislation. This is just a snippet of what laws we have in Uganda. They are not fully exhausted, but most of them are here. We start with the Constitution. I don't know if any of you knows what the Constitution is, but it's basically the primary law of Uganda. It gives you your rights, it gives you the right to start a business, the right to do and work as you please. But there are always other acts that are formed and created by the Parliament of Uganda to now specifically talk about the different fields that you'll be taking part in. For example, I know today I came to talk to tech people, so I'll try to narrow the scope to the tech world. But for now, this is what we have. And yes, now we're going to talk about the types of businesses that we have in Uganda. So our sector is formed of the formal businesses and the informal businesses. As we began, we looked at the two entrepreneurs that spoke to us, the lady that was dealing with jewelry and the lady that had her pumpkin business. One was registered and the other wasn't. So the one that wasn't registered is part of the informal business sector of Uganda. Well, the one that was registered, well, I don't know if the lady of the pumpkin business had registered with URA, but if she had, then she would be fully formal. Should be part of the fully formal dimension of the business sector of Uganda. So these statistics were got from the report that was made by the Ministry of Finance, and they were basically doing a study of what is the percentage of the informal sector of Uganda. Very many people in Uganda actually trade the way Sharifa and her friends were trading, informally. Someone wakes up, starts a business, goes to the street there, opens their chapati stall, and they are done. The other person wakes up, starts selling clothes on an online business, and they're done. So most of the businesses in Uganda are very informal. And some might do some registration with URSB, for example, get a business name, and then end there. So they become partially informal and partially formal. Then there are those that are formal. Those ones now go ahead to register with URSB because Uganda Registration Services Bureau, which is URSB, is the body that incorporates companies. That is where you register your businesses. So what do we mean when we say legal and fiscal formality?
So where businesses are run outside the legal and regulatory systems, it means that for you, you don't pay taxes, and even in the URSB system, you do not exist. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep using your business, like the jewelry business. URSB, even if you went to their site right now and you said, I want to search the business of Sharifa right now, you would not find it there. Why? Because she is not registered. So that is legal informality. Yes, she's not registered. Fiscal informality are businesses that do not pay taxes to URA. They don't have a T number, and therefore URA does not know of your existence. However, if they find you, then you're illegally functioning, and therefore they will fine you, okay? So, to avoid legal informality and fiscal informality, we need to register our businesses. So how do you formalize a business? The lady there told us she went to URSB, didn't sleep for 3 months, she couldn't find a name. Now, what was the name of your jewelry store again? Jewelry Box. If you went on the system and searched for Jewelry Box, I think you'd find like 1,000 of them, yeah? Why? Because day in, out, Ugandans are always starting businesses, okay? So for you to be able to be unique and stand out, you have to find a unique name. Now that's where we are. We are here on reserving a name like the lady had told us, okay? She had to look for a name because you cannot have the same name as someone in the same business. It would be unfair competition. Because if one has substandard goods, yes? If one has substandard goods, they'll directly link it to the other person functioning under the same name. I don't know if that makes sense. So, yeah, you may ask yourself questions like, there's Java House and there's Cafe Javas, so, and those are the same names. No, there's always a difference. There's always a difference when you go under the system. But we shall get there when we're talking about IP, branding, and all those things. So we are at reserving a name. It is advisable that when you want to reserve a name,